who does what in terms of lighting? What does the cinematographer do, and what does the gaffer do, and what does the best boy do?
But I can say that the gaffer is the cinematographer's right hand. So usually the cinematographer is in control of the lighting, the concept of lighting, and you actually, in the ideal situation, you have a gaffer who sets the lights, and he's so good that it's better than the cinematographer when he says setting lights.
Better.
I worked with James before, a couple of times, and it's really amazing what a gaffer can do. A good gaffer is part of my job, actually. He's done it very well. And I had a great guy beside James. You probably remember Rick Martens. For me, he was the best gaffer ever. And to the point that I didn't even try to tell him what to do, because he knew it. And that's an ideal situation when you have somebody who is so talented and can set the lights the way you want him to do that. But you don't have to tell him that.
It's pretty much as Vilmos said. It's a collaboration, and in the pre-production, you work together and talk about the idea of the movie and what it's going to look like. And then the gaffer is able to rough in the lighting so that the cameraman can function as setting up the shot and doing all those other things. And then he looks around and says, oh, it would be better if we did a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And together, you light the set. And it works out very efficiently. And it's a great friendship and collaboration at the same time.
When it works well.
When it works well.
Yeah. Michel, you said that sometimes the DP and the gaffer is like an old married couple, huh?
Yeah.
With all the pluses and minuses.
And sometimes it's good to change too.
Oh, okay.
In France, it's not exactly the same. Like our director, the DPs knows everything, and they don't need anybody. And we usually working with a chef electrician, which is less than gaffer in the mind of most of DPs. By chance, I used to work in foreign countries, and I learned to work with a gaffer. We have between 5 and 10 very good gaffers in France. It's today on the industry, it's impossible to do everything. If you have not only a right hand but also a right eye, you can work properly. It's fundamental for me. I'm okay to accept anybody on the crew, but I'm choose my gaffer. This is my.
That's a good point. The DP really wants to choose their gaffer.
The main thing for me, I think, is the collaboration, I think, between the DP and the gaffer. And I think also, because I've got Matthew here, who's the best boy, is then the collaboration between the gaffer and the best boy. Because as much as the DP's relying on the gaffer, you also have the gaffer who really requires his best boy. Because again, he's your sort of second man who's out there sort of preparing things while you're there on the floor and just ensuring that things are going to go smoothly. So I think, that's the main thing to sort of add to that.
So what does the best boy do?
You're so concentrated and so passionate about what you do, you forget the sort of everyday things. It's like driving a car. You're so keen on getting from A to B that you forget to fill up with petrol. And it's just, you need someone behind your back just to say, you haven't forgotten this. The best boy is essentially from middle management, where you deal with the logistics of, an image gets interpreted by the cinematographer from the director's wishes. The gaffer interprets that in a technical basis, and the best boy interprets that in a logistical basis. So you're essentially working out, and you're dealing with the morale of the boys. The morale of everyone is so important that if you've got everyone on board, that it adds so much that accountants don't see. And that's the battle that you're constantly having with production managers. I know it might cost a bit more, but the morale that in giving them a lunch allowance or whatever it might be, it actually keeps everyone further up the line much more at ease, because they haven't got moany old electricians. Oh, I don't want to be here. You instill that great sort of let's all do this.
Some people like to stay with the same gaffer. Others like to change gaffers. How do you feel about that?
I stay actually with the gaffer for a long time, And then of course something happens, that he's not available or something like that, then you have to find somebody else. But as far as firing a gaffer, that's very rare for me. But I had to do it once because the producer didn't go with my idea that who should it be. And I have a gaffer. It was a good gaffer, but for some reason it was not for me. We just could not get along.
You didn't click, yeah.
It just didn't click, and then I said something. I ordered something, and it was something else. But something else, something better. It was not better, And then, but I still didn't fire the gaffer because I never really fired myself anyone. I was trying to stick it out, for 6 weeks or something like that. The producer, however, saw what was happening. So he came to me and said, "I have to think that I made the wrong choice." He, the producer, made the wrong choice to insist on that gaffer. And they said, I give you the gaffer what you want. And it made a big change, a big, incredible change, I was relieved. I didn't have to look what he was doing because he did his job the way I like it.
I want to go back to this gaffer and DP relation because in China it's very hard. So I always have to fight with them because I want this effect and I tell them, okay, maybe we can do it this way. They say, no, we gotta do it this way. I say, no, I think this would be the best way, So do you guys have this kind of relation in Europe or in the States where, the gaffer has his approach, the DP has his approach, and you have to find a kind of a compromise? And who has the last word?
It's really very simple. The DP is the decider. I mean, I have ideas, and I hope the DP will listen to them, but he doesn't necessarily take them. And that's fine, because he's in charge. I wouldn't want to work with a cameraman that wouldn't even listen to my ideas, but as long as they consider them, and then they say, no, yeah, that's good, but I want to do it this way, that's the way you do it. And if the gaffer doesn't want to do it that way, get another gaffer.